Well, I'm normally on this side of the table or this side of the stage, but I get the pleasure of being the moderator and also introducing somebody who is a transformative leader and entrepreneur. And I think we ought to talk about that first. So the mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens, is one of the most innovative, transformative mayors and leaders in the United States. Atlanta is the mecca of capitalism and economic empowerment for all of its citizens and all entrepreneurs. And throughout Atlanta's history, especially starting in the 1970s, when it provided access to economic opportunity for African American entrepreneurs, it became the standard bearer of economic empowerment, economic inclusion. And almost every major black entrepreneur in this country can trace their pathway through Atlanta. And it takes a strong, innovative, and visionary leader to build on that. And Mayor Dickens has been an innovator who has transformed affordable housing, transformed economic inclusion, transformed technology and made Atlanta a center of technology, and has made Atlanta one of the most important cities in the world. With that, I'd like to introduce Mayor Dickens to you and let him start talking about the great city of Atlanta and all the great work he's doing.
Well, good. Thank you, John. I gotta take you everywhere I go, man. That's awesome. That's a great highlight reel of Atlanta, and I'm just honored to be here, RT. Thank you for inviting me. Tomorrow.City, thank you for having me here. Mayor James, West Palm Beach looking beautiful. Thank you for welcoming all of us and having us in your beautiful city. I'm just excited about economic development, about cities just growing and thriving, about economic inclusion, about affordable housing, and of course, about technology in the future. Those things wake me up each day and get me going, and I'm excited about all of that. And I've been mayor now for 4 years, just got reelected, so y'all be stuck with me for another 4 years. I'm excited about that. It's been my dream to be mayor since I was 16 years old in the city of Atlanta, the city I was born and raised in. Andrew Young was the mayor at the time, and so he was the second African-American mayor. Now I'm the seventh, and we're just really growing this city. Atlanta's growing rapidly. I know Florida is growing, West Palm is growing, Miami and others are growing. So is Atlanta. The Southeast is just thriving. People are moving here from all over the world, definitely from all over the country. And Atlanta is just, everything from new housing developments to new technology companies moving to the city or sprouting up from our economic ecosystem of technology. My CIO is here, Jason Sankey, CIO of the city of Atlanta. So if you want to know more about a lot of things that we're doing in technology and innovation and AI and et cetera, see him. And, we're just really excited to be a part of the growth of the Southeast. We still have the world's busiest and most efficient airport. I'm sure that you've flown through Hartsfield-Jackson at least once a month, because you got to go there to get anywhere. We have $1.4 billion worth of projects going on right now, and that's been, every year we're just doing a whole lot of growth at the airport, which gives an indication of how fast the region's growing. And one of the challenges, though, Don, is we have growth, but we want to make sure we have balanced growth. We want to make sure we have growth in multiple sectors, but also across multiple people in our population. We don't want it to just be growth of those at the top. We want people from all walks of life, those that are low income to get to middle income, and then get upskilled and reskilled and be able to thrive in this technology economy. And so that's why I'm really interested in affordable housing, mixed income housing, and making a way for people, and really big on youth development so that we can pave the way for the future. So I'm excited to be here to talk about cities. It's been my love since I was 16 and said I wanted to be the mayor of a city. So at this big old grown age, I got a whole lot to say. So ask away, Don.
All right. Well, one of the things I will say, so I started in politics when I was 14 years old, working in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. And what I learned is that all things run through cities, and the most important leaders in this country aren't the president, aren't the senators, aren't the governors, it's the mayors, because the mayors set the tone. And Atlanta is one great example of what mayors can do. So one of the early, and I think Maynard Jackson was the first black mayor, and Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, it used to be Hartsfield International Airport, and that airport was built by Maynard Jackson. And what Maynard Jackson said when that airport was going to get built is that it was going to have 35% minority business contracting. And what that meant is black business contracting. And he had to fight to make sure that happened. The airport set in the city limits of Atlanta, and he refused to give a building permit unless the state and county agreed to the 35% minority contracting. That decision and that strength created the environment that Atlanta has today, being the mecca of economic empowerment for African Americans. And so we look at Atlanta today, and we look at Georgia, and we look at the politics of today, where there's been this pushback on DEI, which is the equivalent of minority contracting opportunities. Georgia is a swing state. Atlanta is a progressive city. How do you navigate and govern and continue to move forward with the transformative policies that you have implemented?
Yeah, Don, so a number of things in there. We do say that at the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Us mayors, we keep the nation going. We are significant. Things run through cities, but I know I'm in earshot of Mar-a-Lago, so I ain't gonna say it too loud. The mayor's all everything. Somebody may have something to say about that. But
he probably would have agreed with me about 10 years ago when he was out here doing business too.
But mayors are significant and cities are significant. Most of the economic activity of this country happens in cities, and now the nation has really municipalized. More and more cities are cropping up. More and more cities are moving, are really annexing unincorporated parts of county. So now just about everybody in America lives in a city, especially in these highly populated states. And so what that means for people like me is, there's politics that could affect negatively how we achieve our purposes. I am a Democratic mayor in a traditionally red state, which is now a swing state. As this city has grown and as this region has grown and as the state has grown, our population base has a diversity of population and a diversity of beliefs and thoughts and ideology, to where now we are a swing state. We have 2 senators that are elected statewide that are Democrats, and went for Biden one year, then went for Trump. So Georgia is in play, which means Atlanta is always of significance when it comes to the political landscape. What does that mean is that the politics between the mayor and the governor, we're the capital city of the state of Georgia, we're the economic engine of the state of Georgia. So the governor and I, we get along. We make sure that our politics, our policies and things are done in fact what we're doing on the ground. We're both about business. We're both about public safety. We're both about education. We're both about making sure that we attract new business and workforce development. And so some of the fringe issues on the left and the fringe issues on the right, he and I don't talk about that at breakfast, nor at dinner, nor at lunch. He and I talk about the things that's going to move the state forward, move the city forward, and we've been successful at that. And so when the national politics moved towards a anti-DEI situation, as you mentioned, Maynard Jackson started, he was the first African-American mayor in the Deep South, and that was in 1973. He was elected, started in 1974, and when he started building out the airport, there was 1% of the contract that was going to minority in a city that was 50% black. And he was like, we got minority contractors, we got guys that's doing driveways, sidewalks, paving roads, but they can do a runway. They can put up the various, fixtures inside of the airport construction. We can, manage the landscaping. Why are we not getting these contracts? So he said to the business community, I'm not gonna issue any more permits. I want, it was 25% was his number at the time. I want 25% of this contract to go to minorities. And so you guys can have 25. You guys can have 75% of this huge new opportunity, or you can have 100% of nothing, because I won't let anything happen. And so the business community made a decision that we would go out here and partner with doing joint ventures with minorities. And so now we're at 38% of our projects are being done with minority and female participation. So out of $1.4 billion, you're looking at over $400 million worth of economic activity that's going to diverse communities. And that means a whole lot across the city of Atlanta. You're clapping by yourself. Go, you clap for it. I'm good with that. And so this is how the politics works out, though. At the heart of the matter, someone wanted to make a political statement that DEI is bad or it's preferential or whatever they come up with. You just put a spin cycle to anything. But once you got to the concrete matters of it, the very important people in the state legislature and state leadership, when I talked to them and I said, hey, this is what it is, Atlanta's not going to budge, and they literally said, we're not worried about that. In Georgia, we want everybody working. And that's important. When you have a substantial amount of minority businesses, female businesses, someone that's going to come and attack a situation like DEI, you could either now have a whole lot of unemployment and a whole lot of bankruptcies, or you could say, you know what, I'm going to keep on keeping on because the city, the state, we've been growing, we've been thriving doing business the way we've been doing business. Let's keep doing that business, and I want everybody working. And that means all of these contractors keep working, and we'll figure out how to spin it so that people up top don't get mad. But I need you to move some dirt tomorrow and keep them people employed, because when they're not employed, they're going to be sleeping on our streets, they're going to be asking for money, and our unemployment taxes are going to go up, and the ecosystem is going to crumble. So that's why I say, turn off the news and get to work.
Well said. One thing that has happened in major cities, and Atlanta set the tone. So what you just described set the tone for all these cities around the country. I'm the beneficiary of the decisions that made Atlanta, that were made in Atlanta and DC when I started my company, because the mayor there followed Atlanta's policies and followed its minority business contracting opportunities. But one of the things that has happened around the country is, as cities got successful, they displaced those who helped make the city and helped build it. Those who stayed in the city believed in these cities, and they were forced out of the cities. DC is a good example of that, unfortunately, where it created basically the 9th Ward of DC, which became Prince George's County, because many people could not afford to live in DC anymore. You have done something very different. You have made sure that you are accelerating affordable housing and also getting people who earn more money based on economic opportunity in Atlanta, how they can become homeowners and build generational wealth. So could you talk a little bit about your affordable housing initiative and how you were able to get that done, and how you're working and your administration is working to bring people out of affordable housing and into home ownership so they can build generational wealth as well?
Yeah, Don, well, first, you've been excellent at mixed income housing, affordable housing. You've been a great developer across the nation. And we can't do the work that we're doing without talented developers. So thank you. You've been doing it for years, and you're into the Atlanta market, New York, et cetera. But for me, it's simple. Housing is important because if you can't afford housing, you start seeing a lot of the social determinants of health are around housing. When people are unstable, when they have more month than money, they start making decisions about, do I eat properly? Do I pay for my medical expenses? Do I pay for this child care? Or can I skimp on the rent or the mortgage? And the biggest determinant of a student's outcome is how many times they have to move in a school year. You see a lot of kids, in Atlanta, there's one school that's in this very dangerous area that we cleaned up over time. But 60% of the kids that start in that school year don't finish in that same school system because mom is constantly looking for another place to go. Half month rent free here, free month rent there. She'll move out of the school district just to get, say, $150 worth of rent or $50 a month worth of rent. And so for me, it was essential that these cities, I was watching, before I was mayor, before I was even on city council, I was watching that cities are becoming victims of their own success. And Atlanta was one of them. As the city grows and as the economic platform grows and as big businesses come and as technology produces opportunity, The people at the bottom that are not getting skilled and reskilled and upskilled, they're living in a very static economic situation where the cost of living is rising. And that's not just affecting the people that's behind at the hotel cleaning up that you don't see, or the people that's behind flipping the burgers. That's your firefighters, that's your police officers, that's your school teachers, that's your nurses. Those people that are making $40, $50, $60,000, they're in trouble when rents are now at $1,600, $1,700 a month. How are they going to keep up with that, pay their student loans, take care of that expensive child care, and health benefits? This is now a challenged economy for too many of our folks that we actually need, the service economy, the workforce. I want the school principal, the school teacher, and the bus driver to all to be able to live in the communities of Atlanta. Their kids don't know the difference between their parents' income. They just want to go to a quality school, get a good meal, and be able to go to the same library, same ballpark, same grocery store. So we build mixed income communities in Atlanta. I set a goal of 20,000 units of affordable housing in 8 years, and I was hopeful I'd get reelected, and I was. So I set an 8-year goal. And so we're at 13,000 units that's been built or under construction in the first 4 years. And so we're rapidly moving towards our goal of 20,000 units of affordable housing built in the city of Atlanta in a short amount of time. And it's mixed income communities. I know wordplay is big business in politics. Some people don't like the affordable housing. Some people will prefer to say workforce housing. Some people prefer to say mixed income housing. Some people just say housing. Y'all can do the Scrabble. I'm going to build a housing. And that's what's important, because people just need to find somewhere they can live. And that is important so that cities can thrive in a balanced way. Balanced growth is good. When you start finding that your firefighters and your school teachers can't live in a city, and they're driving an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to be able to get to work, when their kid is sick back home, or at that daycare that they drop them off at, the only one they can afford, that's an hour commute. That's a lot of productivity loss. Those are decisions that they're making. That teacher is sleeping at lunch at her desk because she's driven an hour and 30 minutes to get there. She's tired, and she got her own kids she got to pick up afterwards. What I'm sharing with you is the needs of communities are plural, and they're not just go after the high net worth individuals only. We have to have a respect for our hard-working first responders, our nurses, our teachers, and everybody in between. If you don't build for them, you're gonna turn into a certain West Coast situation that happened, where you got 100,000 there that's looking for government subsidy. And you gotta make sure you have balanced growth, and that's what we're doing in Atlanta, so that everyone can thrive in that ecosystem. We're not perfect at it, but we're getting there each and every day.
I think we have time for one question I want to ask, and I think that Atlanta has been very successful. You've been very successful. You talked about re-election, and the public re-elected you, I think, by the largest margin ever.
85.6%. I just walked. 85.6%.
85.6%.
If you find those 14.4%,
So the voters respected what you've done and appreciate what you've done. So one of the things is that you've been able to balance those initiatives that are for people, for working families, for those who are struggling to get ahead, and making Atlanta livable for everybody. But at the same hand, you've been a pro-business mayor. Atlanta is a city about business. How did you navigate those two, where you see other of your colleagues around the country having difficulty and ending up being one side or the other, but not being broadly focused as you have, and use business to make Atlanta be able to achieve the things that you've been looking to do?
Yeah. So I'm a chemical engineer by training. And so I work in business. I own my own business for 9 years. So I'm business minded, but community focused. So I know the value of a full ecosystem, one that has big business, small businesses. Small businesses matter so much. They're the ones that hire the local community members. They're the ones that's helping to pay for the uniforms of the Little League team, right? Those are the coaches that go to work at their business by day and then coach your kids at night on the ball field. So I'm supportive of the entire system and the whole structure. So that's a part of that balanced growth. I came into City Hall and I said, I draw circles, I don't draw lines. And that drawing circles is we're just trying to make the pie bigger and bigger and grab more and more supporters and people that can help us with this agenda to go forward. I'm a technologist, so Atlanta is the capital of fintech. So whether you're 70% of the nation's credit card transactions go through the city of Atlanta. So you got to continue to feed that beast of, hey, those are where the jobs are. That's where the economic booms are coming from. We're the fifth largest city for Fortune 500 companies. Your Coca-Colas, your Deltas, your UPS, your Home Depots, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have a large amount of big businesses that have a lot of employees, that have a lot of capital to deploy, and we have small businesses that are looking for access to that capital. And so drawing that circle, saying that, hey, you got a customer up the street or you got a vendor down the street, try to make sure you learn who's doing what. And so we have the Atlanta Committee for Progress, which I didn't create. That's something that was created by Shirley Franklin, my predecessor, the first African-American female mayor, the first female mayor of the city of Atlanta. And she created this Atlanta Committee for Progress, which was to bring all the big businesses together quarterly, and we talk about the issues, and we ask them how they can help us with some of these challenges. So when I go out here and say I'm going to build affordable housing, or I'm going to help with homelessness, or we're going to serve the youth, I go straight to the business community and say, this is what I'm doing, so this is what you need to put in. And so we go hand in hand. It's a group project. And so the business community supports me in a lot of my efforts. I wanted to hire 5,000 young people for summer employment and pay them a minimum of $15 an hour. They did that. The business community did. I hired about 1,500 of them in City Hall. They hired the rest. That is how we do it. And all they had to do is hire six weeks, $15 an hour for about 20 to 30 hours a week. That is creating the support mechanisms that our future is going to be brighter because you're involved in it. And I would tell them, don't call me and tell me there's a homeless guy in front of your building and all your workers in that, let's say you're a restaurateur, you're going to tell me there's a homeless guy behind there. And I'm going to say, well, you only pay your workers $8 an hour inside of there. That homeless person could actually be your employee just sleeping in front of somebody else's building. So all of us need to make sure we support this ecosystem. Don't call City Hall if you're not really ready to put any skin in the game. It's a challenge that we meet face to face and say, I'm here to help this social structure. You're here to help this social structure. The rising tide is going to lift all boats. Everything is happening. The city on the hill called Atlanta, the city in the forest. People see it, they fly into it, they want to get access to it. We're growing the sports and the entertainment culture and all the things that make a city fun to live in. But we also got to continue to make sure that we shore up those strengthening tissues around housing and economic inclusion that never let us crumble. And that is why we have a very stable economy. I moved us to AAA credit rating, the highest credit rating in the city's history. In 3.5 years, we grew our credit rating to AAA, the highest you can get. Now we have the highest graduation rate in the city's history, at 90.5% graduation rate for a city that was at 83% when I started 4 years ago. So our goal is to continue to grow. That's 3 percentage points higher than the state. So the same way that I want to make this city the best city to thrive and to raise a child, that's how we got to do this with the business and the social structure. Be a business-minded but community-focused. We can't leave any of these folks behind. We got to rise and run with this.
Fantastic, fantastic. So as we wind down, is there anything you would like to tell the audience about Atlanta and give advice as to how they can have opportunities in Atlanta and how they can also take what you've done in Atlanta back to their hometowns and make their cities better?
Yeah, well, I got to fly out of Palm Beach, so I don't want to do too much of an Atlanta commercial and I get tackled at the airport. But Palm Beach and Atlanta together rule the world. Well, West Palm Beach for sure.
Yeah.
I know. Yes, West Palm Beach, and I'm talking about the Palm Beach Airport. I got to get out of it. But no, Mayor James and I are members of the African American Mayors Association, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and just making sure that we, lockstep on how to thrive and make sure these communities thrive. For Atlanta, you can contact my offices. A lot of you are in technology. My chief information officer, Jason Sankey, is here. I also created a position called a Senior Technology Advisor. His whole role is to put founders and funders together and to help support the connection of startups and making sure that the city can even have demonstration projects for these startups. You know, some startups may need access to city streets, access to city water systems, access to do various things with our rapid transit, etc. Well, we'd like to encourage you to do those things, those test runs in the city of Atlanta, and we have a way of making sure that we can facilitate that, or at least we try. So Atlanta's a test bed for certain things. A test bed that's already got a lot of proven successes. Coca-Cola was a startup one day. And so we kind of try to grow this city in a balanced way. The last thing I'll say is there's nothing richer than Atlanta's talent. We were listed recently by Forbes as the most educated city in America. That's because of the Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Emory, but also the Atlanta University City, the largest conglomeration of historically black colleges and universities. We have the talent. So many people in Atlanta have degrees, and they can help you, whether they, you know, and I'd like for them to help you remotely, if they so they can still live in Atlanta, do their business, and they can pay taxes in the city. But yeah, we're growing, and the future is bright. We're a top technology ecosystem, a top hub for technology enthusiasts and businesses and entrepreneurs. So continue to find your way to Atlanta for a number of things. We have venture tech, we have render, we have a number of festivals that you can find that are related to technology in Atlanta and entrepreneurship. Find us at atlantagA.gov, we're ready. Atlanta's open for business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Let's give him a round of applause.